Most of the people that buy from us are ruined for everyone else. Yeah. We've been doing this for 12 years. Gilbert Chocolates have been doing it for 125 years. If you don't pay us, you're not getting any more chocolate.
He sells, Comedy definitely sells.
During COVID, we had our e-commerce store up and running already then. Absolutely exploded. We had a hard time. We only had 3 ladies that could work. We usually have 25. We only had 3 ladies that could work during COVID, plus my wife and I. And Sally and I literally made and packaged and shipped 1,200 Easter bunnies. And I always thought that operations was hard. Turns out operations is easy. Selling is hard, really hard. Being famous isn't all that fun anyway, and being big, you got to put the quality there first. This is literally the best job I ever had. It's because of the product and the customers. So that's what we do, and we're pretty darn good at it.
All right, we have Mr. Brian Krichbaum. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I was in the military, did 20 years, retired. And during that time, I was stationed at Ramstein Air Base, Germany. And so my wife and I, we go to the mall on base. Very nice mall, by the way, for military standards. Walking in, and all of a sudden in front of us, this lady pops up with an accent. We're in Germany. She had a tray in front of her, and she says, "You want to try the best chocolate in the world?" And so
Gilbert
Chocolates were there in Germany, and we both took a bite. It was these little brown chocolates, not dark, but just amazing. Like one of the best chocolates ever since then. So what makes Belgian chocolate so amazing?
Belgium chocolate, first of all, it has to be made in Belgium to be called Belgium chocolate. So we would call our chocolate Belgium style chocolate, but it's made in Philadelphia. It can't be called Belgium chocolate. But Belgium chocolate has a higher percentage of cocoa butter than most American chocolates. It has far less artificial ingredients. It has all natural flavors, so it will have vanilla, not artificial vanilla or vanillin. Okay. And the other difference is in the process that's made to make it. So there's more than one way to turn the cocoa bean into a chocolate. And the hard way is the Belgium way. And then there's an easy way, which is what the big guys use, because they make tons of chocolate for every pound that we make. The big difference is those two things. So Belgium chocolate's made by fine grinding to get that completely smooth mouthfeel. It uses cocoa butters, involves heating the chocolate and cooling the chocolate several times to get the right flavor profile, and it requires exquisite tempering. Tempering is a process we use to force gourmet chocolates into the perfect crystal structure. So we want to talk about science of chocolates. There's 5 different crystals that can form when chocolate cools. Only one of them is desirable. And so the tempering process is what we use to force the chocolate into that proper crystal structure. The structure that snaps, the structure that isn't grainy, the structure that tastes smooth in the mouth. Technically, it doesn't change the flavor, but it feels like it because of the way it feels in your mouth.
Probably. And the experience is part of it, right? You don't want to only taste good or taste sweet. You just want that experience where it's, like you said, the cocoa butter, creaminess, and some chocolates just have that. And to the common person who doesn't understand the science, like me, I'm just going after the taste, right? If it tastes good, then I know it's great. Then I can recommend it to my friends. And so what I'm understanding from you is to get the Belgian style chocolate, you have to go through a longer process. And then of course, you put more effort into it, you get a better result. And so does that translate with your customer base as well? They can tell the difference and they are more apt to purchase?
Yeah. Most of the people that buy from us are ruined for everyone else. Yeah. We've been doing this for 12 years. Gilbert Chocolates have been doing it for 125 years. Wow. But my wife and I have been the owners here for 12 years. And in that time, we've probably been in 100 chocolate stores around the United States. And we found one that I would put in our category and a couple others that were close, but at least half of them, as I walked out the door, I threw it away. Fit to eat. So just because you're going to a local place doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get great chocolates. So we're spoiled though. I can't eat anything else now.
Of course. So how did it begin? Take me back a little bit. What got you interested in chocolate and then to acquire a running business?
Okay, I'll make short order of it, but it's a long story.
Okay.
I'm an engineer. After college, I worked for General Dynamics making battle tanks for the Marines and the Army. Then I went into automotive, and I was in automotive for about 20 years, to the point I was a vice president of a big auto supplier here in Michigan. And I decided that wasn't for me. And so I left that and became a consultant, which I did for about 10 years. After 2008 and the recession, I was getting tired of consulting. It's a lonely life. Anyone that's done it will vouch for me. You're not really part of the team. And it's got its benefits, but it just gets weary after a while. So I was tired of it and started looking for a company to buy, a manufacturing company. We found a couple, but nothing that my wife was excited about, nothing that she would have wanted to work in. And then one day I was at one of my clients was Gilbert Chocolates, and the owner said, I'm getting old and I think I'm just going to sell this place. And so 6 months later, we were the owners. Wow. And that's how it happened.
So before your purchase, what was the inclination for chocolate? Was it purely like engineering? What was the draw to settle on chocolate?
That's an interesting question. When I was getting close to the end of the process, my wife, Sally, asked me, are you going to be able to give up engineering? And I said, what are you talking about? There is so much needing done there from an engineering perspective. So yeah, I didn't have to give up engineering. We've made a lot of operational improvements. Our caveat is we will never do anything that sacrifices the quality. The bigger companies, they use robotics and stuff to dispense the chocolate onto the enrobing lines. And you just have to change the formulas a little bit to make all that work, for the automation to work. And so we're not willing to do that. So we still make our cream centers by hand, and we put them on the enrober, literally one at a time by hand. And I can't keep up, but the ladies here that make all the chocolatiers, they want me doing it anyway.
And so, as far as the operations are concerned, you're doing everything in-house as well, or are you using any kind of third parties?
It depends on what you mean by everything.
Like post-chocolate, let's say it comes off the conveyor belt. This might be completely wrong analogy. But then how are you wrapping it, putting it into boxes, and then getting it to stores?
So in the chocolate business, generally speaking, you're either a chocolate company or you're a chocolates company. So a chocolate company takes the beans and the sugar and they do all the grinding. They make large batches of chocolate. For a place like us, we buy it in 50-pound boxes. For bigger places, they may actually buy it melted in semi-trucks. But we buy it by the pound in boxes, 50-pound boxes. And so the chocolate making process starts in Philadelphia. And by the time it gets to us, they're just the biggest candy bar you ever saw.
Right.
We have chocolate melters then. We break them up, put them in these 100-pound melters and melt the chocolates in there. We have high-tech temperature controllers on the melters. The melters themselves are 125 years old, but we change the controls. That's the engineering part. We change the controls, and now we can control the temps to within half a degree or so. And so we melt them in there, and then most of the chocolate is then taken out, put into our enrober. You can think of enrobing like robing, like dressing. So the enrober is the machine that puts the liquid chocolate on top of the centers. So we feed our centers that we've made previously, and we feed them into the enrober. They coat them with chocolates. They go through a cooling tunnel, a big refrigerator, and then we put them in stock boxes at the end of the line. We wrap almost nothing of it as it's coming off the line. We sell it in such a variety of different ways. We just have a big library of chocolates, and then when somebody places an order, we package it the way they want it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you can sell wholesale, basically.
We sell wholesale. About 80% of our sales, though, is retail. We have 3 stores of our own.
Nice.
So we're not just a manufacturer.
Wow, you have the distribution down as well. Okay.
Yeah. About 20% is wholesale, some national, most local. We actually are the largest supplier, the chocolate supplier to the largest food club in the United States. I'm not allowed to tell you who it is.
Okay.
But because they don't want
I'm sure I could Google
know
it.
that we're the supplier. But yeah, so a big food club buys the chocolates from us. We package them. In the summertime, we ship them directly to their customers. So the other thing we do is we make all of the insides, the centers. And the centers are different things.
Caramels, nuts, peanuts. that kind of stuff.
Yep. And cream centers, so raspberry cream, a coconut cream.
Oh, nice.
There's 12 different creams. So we make those creams here, and we have another machine. It's also over 100 years old. It's like a big Play-Doh extruder, and it extrudes the centers out, and we pop them onto a tray and then put them on the enrober and run them through the enrober to make it the finished chocolates that we
That's
sell.
phenomenal. So if a business out there, let's say it's a retail business that wants to now start carrying your chocolate as well, what's the process? Is there an application? Are you selective on who you give it to? Do they have to sign up with some kind of a promise?
Well, we'll talk to them. We're a little selective. Our biggest criteria is if you don't pay us, you're not getting any more chocolate. Our wholesale accounts are in, for the most part, the thousands of dollars, not tens of thousands. They're not big contracts. So yeah, we're just old fashioned. You do your part, we'll do our part. And as long as we keep it up, then we'll keep going. And most of the wholesale accounts are within 100 miles of our location. This gourmet chocolate business is very fractured. And here, we're based in Jackson, Michigan. Here in this area, within 50 miles of here, we're like the big deal in the chocolate business. You get outside of that range, we're like 75 miles from Toledo, Ohio. Nobody knows us in Toledo, Ohio.
I see. Okay. So the reason you're not expanding range is because of notoriety, or there's some logistical issues where the chocolate can't survive a long drive or something to that effect?
Not really. And from our website, our e-commerce, we ship chocolates to all 50 states. We know how to get it there. It's just the people on the other end don't know about it. In the 50s, Gilbert Chocolates had over 200 stores around the United States that sold their chocolates, and they had 250 employees here in Jackson at that time, plus a plant in Los Angeles and a plant in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
So it was a nationwide corporation, but when the founder died, it got scaled way back. And so our goal, Sally and our goal is to bring Gilbert Chocolates back to dominance in southeastern Michigan. So that's why we have 3 stores instead of the 1 store that Gilbert Chocolates had for 50 years. So we're working at it, but we got these criteria, right? The quality has to stay.
Exactly. And you're selective on who you can distribute to. And so is it fair to say you are trying to expand, though? You want to grow the business, or are you content where you're at?
I'm talking to you, aren't I? Yeah. This is why
you're getting the word
on
out.
podcasts,
Exactly.
trying to get the word out.
Get past the 100-mile radius. I understand.
Yes. And it's surprising on the website, South Florida and the San Francisco, California area, Los Angeles area, we send a lot of chocolates. And Texas, the hot areas where it's hard to ship chocolate to, that's where we send an awful lot of our mail order chocolates goes to those locations.
Great. That's great to hear. I know you're doing the podcast, but then is there advertising? Is there like a social following that people can also jump on and support?
There is. We have a Facebook page, Gilbert Chocolate, no S, Gilbert Chocolate on the Facebook is our Facebook page. And we're pretty active on it. And there's lots of posts. You'll see pictures of the plants, pictures of the ladies being silly, all business kind of
Comedy
stuff.
sells. Comedy definitely sells.
Yeah. And so we have that. I said before, our website is an e-commerce site. So you can go to gilbertchocolates.com and you can see almost everything we make. We actually make over 250 different types of chocolate. So not all of that's on the website, but you can always call. Lots of people just call the ladies in the store, take the orders and pass it on. We get it sent out. Depending on weather, within a couple of days. We do watch.
Clever. I found this really interesting on folks that want to get a larger influence, essentially, where all of the large language models will start picking it up and the social media will start picking it up, is when more than one source of information is advertising. Meaning that if you had other folks that are basically posting on their own social media platforms saying something like, hey, try this chocolate out, it's amazing, they have their own testimonial, then the algorithms pick that up in a different way. So what I've seen a lot of successful entrepreneurs do is they'll pick like 1,000 people randomly around, let's say, a country, if you're expanding the entire country. And then within their own local circles, their own social followings, they'll start posting testimonials And because it's this natural testimonial, it's not a paid advertisement, the algorithms pick it up. Have you seen something like that?
We haven't tried it. We're talking about trying it. We've had several influencers contact us offering to review our stuff and post, but we've never pulled the trigger and actually done it.
I think that would be phenomenal because one, if it's a smaller influencer, they're not going to charge you anything except the chocolate, which I think you could probably eat. Other ones, it's all depends on based on how many followers they have and the level of reach that they have. And it's usually a pretty fair trade because you're getting an influencer that might have, let's say, 50,000 followers. And when they promote your chocolate, maybe a small fraction of those folks are buying it. And then it just expands from there. I wouldn't necessarily say no to them. I would have something on your website that just says partner with us and get a free chocolate bar, something to that effect. I think will definitely build a larger following quickly.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I was going to ask you, when you said somebody calls your shop, let's say the ladies pick up, you said they go through the process of putting in the order. As you start increasing from a business perspective, those inbound calls are going to happen throughout the night, right? And so it's going to become a 24/7 operation. Are you looking at some automation in place to then take these calls automatically through an AI agent that can then record the order and then push it to your backend, let's say, in order to fulfill the order 24/7?
I've never thought of that, but I'm willing. I am an engineer. I love technology. Any of that stuff that makes sense, for sure. We are a long ways from that now. We don't even get phone orders. As we get closer to the holidays, it gets a bit crazy. Now, most of our customers come into the store and have that tactile tasting and smelling and feeling it. And that's the way most of our sales come. One of the things that we're trying to do is to increase our gifting, business to business type stuff. Companies that want to give chocolate as a gift to employees, to customers. One of the local banks here every Christmas buys 500 or 600 boxes of chocolates and passes them to their employees. And there's no reason why that model can't be duplicated to someplace 1,000 miles away. It's not hard to.
Exactly. And you could build the automation into your website to do that. And I imagine that's probably how you do it. Somebody buys it, they just put in the address of where it needs to go.
Yeah, but it's set up as a retail site. If you wanted to buy 1,000 boxes, for example, we have a link that allows you to upload a data file with all of the addresses you want to send to, and then we ship them out individually. If you wanted cases of stuff shipped someplace, right now we'd have to do that by the phone.
I see. Wow, you are right for automation. Sounds like you have all of the processes in place. So the way to approach this would be to document step by step exactly what the current process is, and then where we can basically plug in automation. And maybe it's not from step 1 to step 100 on day 1, but maybe it's step 1 to 10 first you can automate, and then slowly build in other automations. So that way you have a complete pipeline that's just smooth, greased, money-making machine, essentially.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And my son-in-law actually is an automation engineer. And so he's pushing me all the time. So far, all the automation we've added has been on the operations side, nothing on the downstreams.
Yeah, online would definitely work. And you could have these influencers that you're already in discussion with. The way they would work is they would take a sampling of your chocolate, and then they would promote just, let's say, one bar of one kind for one specific occasion or season, right? Halloween's coming up. I'll use that as an example. Let's say you have a bar that's the perfect size for a trick-or-treat. The influencer will determine that ad for it. And then they'll have a dedicated Shopify site, which will be like an e-commerce, and they only sell one product. It is that one bar. And so now the influencer's generating videos, YouTube videos, advertisements, all based on their own community and following to drive that traffic to this one site where the customer can have an easy experience to just buy that one package, or you'll have certain bundles. The more you buy, the better it is, right? And then have it shipped not only to themselves, but have it shipped to, like you were saying, a recipient of a gift. And you could give that to one influencer. They would do it in their community. And their community is basically their following, however many hundreds of thousands of followers they have. And you just work out a deal with them. Maybe it's a commission, maybe it's just free chocolate if they're small. That could work.
Yeah, we'll look into that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about operation a little bit more. Chocolate comes in, you guys basically melt it, put it into a particular custom setup based on the distributor that buys it from you, wholesale, and then you also have 3 stores that you retail from. Would you want to expand on the storefront side, as in more stores? Are you looking at more internal, or you want to grow your wholesale aspect of it? Where's like your focus these days?
The best case for us is to expand the business, the sales in the existing stores. We have 2 of our 3 stores are in malls, and it's expensive to rent space in the mall.
Yes, it is.
And then it's expensive to staff the store. To do another store, we've got a couple $100,000 a year just in expenses to run that store. And you have to sell a lot of chocolate just to cover the cost.
And you bring up a really good point, Brian. Like, a lot of folks don't understand how much it costs to rent a store in a mall. Like, these numbers are, like, you could find a small little shop in a mall, let's say it's a decent mall, $15,000 a month rent. And so now I'm looking at the store going, you sell sunglasses. Like, how do you make...
Or cookies.
Or something so simple. It's like, you would have to sell thousands of these just to break even. And then you have employees there. You have all the costs to keep the mall going, like the security, the air conditioning, the electricity. And then your product itself, you got to build all that up, and it costs money. It's really expensive to run a store in a mall.
It's really expensive.
I'm probably off on those numbers anyway. That's just when I was looking into it. And I'm like, it'll be great. We can start with a kiosk. Kiosks are pretty cheap. And by cheap, $2,500 to rent the little kiosks in the middle where they're selling battery operated airplanes and such. And even those, I'm just like, you have to sell so many. Those stores are where they're advertising mainly. The sales are happening online. People like to see a brand. They like to touch it, feel it. Okay, cool. Try these glasses on. I like it. I'm going to search online for the best deal. Then they start looking online. And because they've searched for your brand, now you're hitting them with their advertisements. The algorithm is tying into because they're searching for your product. And then hopefully you've already thought 1 or 2 steps ahead where you are outbidding or outmaneuvering your competition to be that sale as well. Because then it's free market online.
Yeah, we sell a lot online. During COVID, we had our e-commerce store up and running already then. It absolutely exploded. We had a hard time. We only had 3 ladies that could work. We usually have 25. We only had 3 ladies that could work during COVID, plus my wife and I. And Sally and I literally made and packaged and shipped 1,200 Easter bunnies from Amazon and our e-commerce site. So
I'm imagining like your living room being the setup. We're going to put the boxes on the counter. We're going to put the chocolate over here and then put them all together. And then the whole thing is a mess and you're trying to like streamline this operation. And we'll bring the cousins over. We'll bring the grandkids over. They're going to help us.
At that time, we were actually living above the factory. There's an apartment upstairs where I'm at right now. And we were living there, so we didn't have to bring it to the living room. If you needed to finish something at 8 o'clock at night, you could go down. It's 100 steps away. And yeah, we were here all the time trying to keep up. And it turns out, as far from a growth standpoint, 2020 was the best year that we've had. And we pretty much maintained the sales since then, but between 2019 and 2020, even though our mall stores were shut down for half the year, the total sales at the end of the year were 20% higher than the year before.
Definitely have some bad memories about stores and that kind of stuff, going through that nonsense.
And you live in Florida.
I do live in Florida, exactly. You mentioned, last question, you mentioned your son is doing the automation piece. Is it the artificial intelligence and the intake automation type that we're talking about?
So far, what we've done is not AI. Okay. It is PLCs, industrial computers.
Oh, right, programmable logic controllers?
Yes. Okay. So we have 4 of those here in the shop. One of them to help us stamp our boxes. One of them is on a tempering machine. So we just push a button and it runs through that whole tempering process for us.
I see.
And another one on that candy extruder I told you about, the one that looks like a Play-Doh pusher. We have one on that. And all those things have had small improvements that add up. When we put the one on the ladies in the factory about had a cow, they were not impressed. They didn't like it at all. And now we've had it for about 5 years. The controller failed about 6 months ago, and it took me a couple of days to get a new one and get it back up and running. They were not willing to go without it anymore. So they are convinced now that's the way to go. And it does. It starts itself in the morning. Stuff we were trying to dial in every day. Now it's controlled within a tenth of a degree or so, and it just works so much better.
Man, this is so interesting. I'm really glad you were able to join the podcast, and sorry Sally couldn't join. We'll have to do this again, please, Brian. I'm very curious to follow your journey, especially on the automation side for expansion and automation. And it's just going to skyrocket because you have a good product, right? Because it does start with that. If you didn't have a good product, it's you're trying too hard, you're advertising, you're overselling. But when you start with a good product, that attracts people. So now it's just a matter of getting it, making it available in front of people. And I think you're right on the track. You're definitely going to do that.
Yeah, I am, I've been in the operations side of things for a long time. And now I'm still in the operations side, but we're in the selling side too. And I always thought that operations was hard. Turns out operations is easy. Selling is hard. Really hard.
Yeah. Selling is hard only because you have to build a relationship and you have to be able to exchange that information in a very clear and concise way. You have your cold callers that'll call somebody and it'll be out of the blue, like, hey, I'm selling you chocolate. Do you want to buy a package? That's not the right way to do it. These relationships are cultivated over time. You have to build a personal relationship, maybe lead with value and share something with them or help them through a process that they're going through based on your own experience. And then you can establish some trust there. And then when you have that trust, then you can build on they'll openly reach out to you and say, hey, thank you for doing that X, Y, and Z thing for us. What else are you selling? I want to work with you regardless of what it is. Let's find a way to make this work.
Yeah. Yep. And so I've had conversations with some local entrepreneurs, and it seems like the trend today is you got to do it all or do nothing. So we had this friend that developed this Himalayan sea salt roasted cashews, and they were good. They were as good as any that I've ever had. And they're good. Everybody likes them. So now I have to buy automatic bagging machines and automatic sealing machines. And I need about $250,000 to buy all this stuff. And I said, what you need is like 100 bags and a $50 sealer. And when you sell them, that 100 bags 50 times over, then you can talk about what the next step is. But you can't start at the end.
Way.
And so many people today are like, I got to do it all. I want to be big. I want to be famous. Being famous isn't all that fun anyway. And being big, you got to put the quality there first.
You got to put the quality in. Yes. Your first automation is these 10 fingers. And that's called wrapping it one by one. That kind of builds a lot of character too, because then later you appreciate that a lot more.
The food club ordered a few months ago 750 pounds of bark, and we always made bark completely by hand.
Oh, wow.
And we could do 10 pounds a day at most. So we got this contract for 750 pounds. So we talked about it. We talked about our chocolate melters, what we could do. We changed the technology that controls the heat and we tempered the chocolate in the melters. And we were making 300-pound batches every other day. Wow. And so something that would have taken us 2 months, we did in 3 days. But until the demand was there for the product, the 700 pounds in a week, there wasn't any reason to do it. Right. So we're very confident that we can figure out how to keep our quality and to increase the productivity, but the demand has to be there first.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a balance. You said it exactly right. I don't want to hold you too long. I know you're super busy. You're running this massive company and it's going to be even bigger. And I'd love to follow your journey. Please share, where can people find you? I know you mentioned a Facebook. I'll have your website. We'll put everything in the description down below. Okay. But any parting shots, please.
Thanks for having us. We love talking about chocolate. This is literally the best job I ever had. It's because of the product and the customers. So that's what we do, and we're pretty darn good at it.
Just for the record, I love Willy Wonka.
All right. We have some pretty good candy bars.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.